I'm joined now by Karen Dee, Chief Executive of the AOA. Karen, great to see you. Thanks very much for coming in. The government's aviation strategy is going to give a blueprint for the next 30 years. Why is it needed? What are airports going to get out of it?
So aviation, as you know, creates huge social and economic benefits for the UK, facilitating trade and allowing friends and family to catch up. And given all of those benefits, it's not surprising really that demand for travel is growing. So what we want as airports is to say, well, how can we meet that demand, and what are the conditions that government is going to put onto that? So, for example, are there going to be more things that we need to do with our communities around noise? What else will we do on things like surface access and the border, which is really outside of the control of airports, where we need government support for that. And what we're really clear about is if the government provides the framework that we're looking for, airports can continue to grow and make sure that the UK continues to be an outward-facing, trading nation post-Brexit.
Sustainability. It's always an issue, and it's a growing issue, rightly so. How is the aviation industry responding to that, and what support are they getting from the government?
So sustainability is always at the heart of what we do, and it's a big challenge for the UK economy across all sectors. But as the aviation sector, we're working really closely, the airports, the airlines, the aerospace manufacturers, and also air navigation systems to make sure that as a sector we can tackle this problem. But it's not a new problem for us. All of those providers came together to form a coalition called Sustainable Aviation. And that's been going for some time. And our work through that body has delivered really good progress already, so that emissions today are still at a lower level than they were in 2005, even despite the growth that we've seen in the sector. But clearly, achieving net zero for the UK economy is going to be a challenge, but our work through Sustainable Aviation shows that we have a plan. We think it's within reach if we get the right kind of support. So from government, for example, on sustainable fuels and bringing those forward. Also, expanded research into different types of aircraft and technologies. We think that bringing that all together, we can still have a thriving industry, a growing industry, but at the same time really play our full part in achieving those savings that we need to do.
That's quite a target, isn't it? Net zero by 2050, and that's all part of the modernisation of the airspace that you're working on. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, so airspace modernisation actually is going to be a really crucial part of our demand, facilitating growth, but also delivering the sustainability improvements and improvements in noise that we need. It's one of those key areas, actually, and quite unusual in that the two go together. We can get growth and we can get sustainability improvements. The airspace system that we have at the moment was designed in the 50s and 60s. The aircraft that we fly in these days bear very little resemblance to the ones that were flying then. So, they were designed for planes that flew lower and slower. And with all the modern aircraft that the airlines have invested in recently, that we're not using them to their full potential because of the airspace design. So what we want to see is, through the modernisation, get a system that will allow us to make those planes do what they can do better. We'll save noise, save emissions, and actually also reduce delays, crucially for us. So this will facilitate growth, but it would also allow us to bring forward changes and improvements for communities quickly.
There's such a lot for you to take account of, isn't there? So many different balances of sustainability and yet the growth in the market. And above it all is passenger experience, and that's what you focus on, no doubt, day to day.
Yeah, and clearly as aviation, without our passengers, what's the point? So they're at the heart of everything we do. As airports specifically, we've been investing millions of pounds in improving those systems, terminal buildings, the facilities that are with them, how we work with the airlines, and that will continue. Also, what we're looking at is, how do we all invest in making things smoother for passengers that need extra need? And again, that's a really crucial part of what we're doing. And the sort of final element of that jigsaw is, how do we ensure that and tackle when passengers are not doing what they're supposed to do, or if they're behaving poorly. We've put a lot of measures in, again, working with airlines, working with our retail staff to make sure that any disruptive passengers are tackled really quickly, and we help to prevent those in the future. Because if we don't make aviation continue to be an attractive option for passengers, then we won't deliver the service that we want, and we won't continue to grow in the way that we should.
Karen Dee, Chief Executive of the AOA, thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.